What's happening, my lovely people? So this weekend we're going to be getting ourselves a brand new shiny, and of course it is Oshawott, and it's going to be featured as the community day for September. I'm going to be telling you how you can best prepare for this event so that you can maximize this community day and pick up as many shinies as you possibly could. Alright, so with that said, let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Alright, so Oshawott is going to be the 9th community day that we are going to get in 2021. And this Pokemon is going to be a brand new shiny in Pokemon GO. Of course, anytime there is a brand new shiny, it's going to create a lot of hype. A lot of players have been wanting for new shinies to be featured in community days for a while now, considering that Niantic has been going to repeat shinies and old shinies as community days for a long time. And I do think that anytime Niantic releases a new shiny, it creates a great buzz. And Oshawott is no different, considering that it is not only a starter Pokemon, but it is a bit of a fan favorite, considering that Oshawott was a prominent figure in the anime, so anyone who was following the anime throughout their childhood would know about Oshawott. It is a very awesome Pokemon. But in any case, let's get into the details. Oshawott is of course going to come with a 3x catch XP bonus, as well as with 3-hour incense and 3-hour lures. 3-hour lures and 3-hour incense, that's been kind of typical of community days as of late, but of course the 3x experience bonus will definitely help out newer players, as well as those of us who are still trying to reach level 50. So this one could actually be a really great community day for a lot of players. It's just all going to depend on where you are currently at in Pokemon GO. But it's not necessarily the bonus that's what's going to be the highlight of this community day. It seems like Niantic is very intentional about bringing new shinies into community days where the bonus is not necessarily going to benefit everyone, and this is definitely a case of that happening. Oshawott is of course a water type Pokemon, and when you evolve it from Duat, it's going to evolve into Samurott, and just like every other starter community day, it's going to be getting the move Hydro Cannon. Now when it comes to Samurott, even with Hydro Cannon, I don't necessarily think it's going to make a huge splash in PvP. I mean, it might make an appearance in the Ultra League, but of course the Ultra League has Pokemon like Swampert that's always going to be a lot better, but Samurott could be a great second option as a raid DPS if you are lacking in Kyogres or any solid water types. That's just how powerful Hydro Cannon is as a move, so you do not want to ignore this one. If you happen to get lucky and pick up a hundo, you're going to want to max it out regardless, considering that Samurott is still a very strong water type Pokemon, even though it may not necessarily be the absolute best one out there. So one thing I suggest for this particular community day is that you don't necessarily have to catch as many Oshawott as you possibly need, unless of course you are looking for that 3x experience. But in general, you could go easy on this one and just do shiny checks. That is of course if you already have very solid water types and you don't necessarily need Samurott with Hydro Cannon. So yeah, this is more of a shiny check community day, so you could save up on your Pokeballs and Ultra Balls and different things like that, because we are going to be getting Duskull community day in October, and that one might be a lot more of a priority for catching as many as you can, considering that we will be getting a 3x catch Stardust bonus with that community day. So for this particular community day, it's not absolutely crucial that you catch every single one, unless of course you're looking for that hundo. I mean, yes, you're going to want to catch as many as you possibly can, considering that that's going to increase your chances of getting a hundo, but in general, this one is more of a shiny check one, unless of course you need that experience. Now aside from Oshawott being a new shiny and it getting Hydro Cannon when you evolve it into Samurott, there's going to be a lot of other little features. For example, you could also pick up an Elite Fast TM if you're in need of those through the Community Day bundle. I mean, it's kind of typical of every single Community Day. There's going to be a Community Day bundle box in the store, and it's going to feature either an Elite Charge TM or an Elite Fast TM, and this time around it's going to be an Elite Fast TM. So if you need that in particular, particular, then yes, you might as well just spend the Pokecoins to get this bundle. But in most cases, people need the charge TMs, so I would hold off and save your Pokecoins because again, in Duskull's Community Day in October, we're going to be getting the charged Elite TM in the bundle box, so you might as well just save up for that one. You'll also be able to encounter up to 5 Oshawott from photobombs, so if you're living in an area where there's just not that many spawns, this is one of the methods that you could potentially pick up that shiny. But of course, the absolute best way if you are lacking in spawns is going to be through incense. This is not one particular community day where I think it warrants using as many premium items as you possibly can, but of course there are players out there who want to maximize their experience, so make sure you have a bunch of incense ready. In order to maximize the event by itself, you really only need 2 of them, considering that they are going to last for 6 hours, but if you plan to grind out really hard after the community day, then I suggest you get a bunch more so that you could maximize that 3-hour value, because depending on how many you use during community day, you can stack up as many as you can and there will always be 3 hours. For example, if you end up using 4 incense during community day, then you're gonna have 12 hours of incense. It's always probably the best way to use incense and get the most value out of them. But again, that's going to be contingent on whether or not you're going to grind afterwards, because there's no point in using incense if you're not even going to be playing the game. I know for me, myself, I tend to only use 2 incense during community days because after a community day, I tend to need a big break, but that's also because I tend to go really hardcore regardless of what the Pokemon is. And then finally, one small tidbit, you will be able to encounter Oshawott from Rainy Lure modules. Of course, that is going to require you to spend money on Rainy Lures, so I don't necessarily know if this is relevant info, but if you live in a heavily populated area with a lot of lures typically running, then yes, you could use Rainy Lure modules to attract a lot more Oshawotts. But yeah, that's really gonna be it for this particular community day. Again, just to recap, I don't necessarily think this is one of those community days that you need to go really hard at, unless you need the experience to level up. If you're not level 40 yet, for example, then yes, I highly suggest you go as hard as you can, because 3 times catch experience is definitely going to speed up your leveling by a huge margin, especially if you are able to land those excellent curveball throws. Yes, that is going to net you an extreme amount of experience with every catch. So do keep that in mind, but if you are not in need of experience, then I highly suggest you save up those resources like Pokeballs and Ultra Balls for the next community day, considering that it is that 3 times catch Stardust bonus, and that is a lot more important than 3 times catch experience. And there's not a lot of time between these 2 community days, so replenishing all of those Pokeballs and Ultra Balls is going to be really difficult in that short period of time, so do keep that in mind when you're going at this community day. Alright, so I hope you found this video to be super helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and share this with all of your friends. That would help me out a great deal. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, and I'll catch you all later.